did a lot of marketing and things like that. But at my life, I decided that that wasn't for me. And I needed to take a step back, and I needed to see what was really going on. And I moved here to Chicago. When I moved here to Chicago a year ago, I was homeless. And I lived in the women's shelter for about 8 months. And I came here, and I thought I was coming here to get help, and then I ended up not getting help. So I had to start all the way over from scratch. And I couldn't run back to the industry and go back to that life, because I was living a great life. But I wanted to change. I was ready to truly live for myself, truly live for God. I was ready to truly wake up and live. You know that feeling when you're walking around and you're smiling like everything's great. My life is amazing. There's nothing going on. But really in real life, there was a lot going on. I was getting beat up at home. I just got my front tooth knocked out. I was trying to figure out a lot of different things in my life. So I was walking around in silence. But I was smiling, acting like everything was perfect. And I know a lot of you guys, maybe you don't want to admit it, but a lot of people, they go through that, You show up at work and you do the job, right? You show up for your kids and you make them feel like everything's perfect. We're gonna go to Disneyland. Knowing, how am I gonna get this money to go to Disneyland?
Right.
We show up for our husbands and our boyfriends and our girlfriends, and we act like everything is perfect. We just smile, right? But deep down inside, we're crying. And so I wrote a book called When Silence Screams. Because I was screaming inside. I was crying at night. I was desperate for some type of help. But everybody saw me, this person. Oh, your life is perfect, Olivia. You have the best life ever. You're doing this and you're doing that, and you're hanging out with all the celebrities. And it looks like you're making all this money and you're always getting your hair done. But they didn't really realize what was really going on. I remember when I first got put on 92.3. But the night before I was supposed to show up to be on air, an FM station, my fiance knocked my front tooth out because he didn't want me to go. And so I called the guy and I told him, I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. And he said, well, Olivia, this is the industry. And there's a lot of people that want your spot. So you're going to have to do what you're going to have to do. And guess what? I put my makeup on. I fixed myself up. And I showed up to that radio station. And I was on air for the very first time on 92.3. Without even crying about it or anything. Because guess what? Nobody cared about what was going on at home. I needed to show up. But I was tired of pretending like everything was perfect. So I decided to step out of that life and find myself. I decided to wake up and live. And so that's my tagline now, is to wake up and live. I want to help other people live. We all truly